Hello, welcome to the video. In this problem, we're given a scenario where we're told that this community college charges $8 per credit for tuition in spring semester. And we want to first complete a table and then come up with an equation that will describe the total cost to a student enrolling if they select a certain number of credits. So let's look first at the first example in our table. If a student is taking 5 credits at the college, we want to know what is their total cost going to be. And for some students, it's easier. The answer is kind of feels intuitive, and you just know that answer right away, and you want to write it in here and then work backwards to fill in your arithmetic. But for others, it's helpful to begin with the arithmetic. So I would encourage you to approach the problem in either way that feels comfortable. But if you're feeling stuck, here's one way you can think about it. We can go back to the given information in the story, and they're going to say they're charging $8 per credit. And per is a key word there. It's often going to indicate multiplication. It means for each credit. So if I'm taking 1 credit, it's going to cost $8. If I'm taking 2 credits, it's going to cost 8 times $2. If I'm taking 3 credits, it's going to cost 8 times $3. So in this case, I'm taking 5 credits. I have to pay $8 for each of those credits. So my total cost is going to be 5 times 8. If I do that out, that tells me my total cost would be $40. We can continue now. I'm taking 10 credits. Or this student is taking 10 credits. Each of those credits still cost $8 each, so we're going to do 10 times 8. Now the bill has gone up to $80. Next we have 15 times 8. So we're going to have to multiply 15 times 8. Never hesitate to take a look at your calculator or to do it out longhand. We do 15 times 8. Now our bill is going to be $120. So we filled in our table. Notice when I drew the table out as opposed to what you see in the book or WAMAC, I leave an extra column to show my work because that helps me see the pattern. When I look at this work, what I want to look for is the thing that never changes. In this case, it was the 8. The credits are always costing $8 each. What does change is the number of credits I'm buying. So I was buying 5 credits here, so now I did 5 times 8. We can show that pattern by changing colors, right? This was a 5, so there's that 5. Now the credits was 10, so I'm multiplying 10 times 8. Now the credits were 15, so I'm multiplying 15 times 8. So now we move into an algebraic framework. They don't tell us the number of credits. They give us a variable to represent it. They say it's C credits. If I want to take C credits, what do I do with that credits to figure out how much it's going to cost? I continue the pattern here. I take the C and I multiply it by 8. So I have C times 8. This would be how to show my work. If I wanted to write it out algebraically, I could keep it as written as C times 8. There's a number of ways I can write C times 8 algebraically. So I can write it as C times 8. If you had it written this way, 8 times C, that works too. Often in algebra, we'll let go of that dot, and we would just write it as 8C. Theoretically, we could write it as C8, but we really don't like to represent it that way algebraically. If we have a variable and a constant being multiplied, we like to put the constant in front. And then remember, you could also use parentheses in any of these. So you could write it as C in parentheses times 8. You could write it as 8 times C. You could write it with parentheses around both. So many options. But I would say of all those options, the most commonly used one is this. This is what we'll want to get in the habit of writing it as 8 times C without that multiplication sign shown. So the total cost in dollars would be 8C. So we can fill that in our table. And now as we look down in part B for this question, they want us to write it as an equation. So to turn what we've just done in this table into an equation, we can see what it's telling us. The label at the top says, oh, this column is telling us total cost. So in this case, the total cost is equal to 8 times C. So we can turn it into an equation by saying, oh, when we took 5 credits, the total cost was equal to 40. When we took 10 credits, the total cost was equal to 80. When we took 15 credits, the total cost was equal to $120. And now that we're taking C credits, the total cost is 8C. So here they're asking us to write an equation describing T as a function of C. So there's my equation. T equals 8C. Looks kind of funny in WAMAT format. I would like to write it like this. T equals 8c. And this is a very useful equation because it means now I don't have to do the math out every time. I have an equation ready for me. If someone says, oh, I want to take 100 credits, how much is it going to cost? I just plug in 100 for my C, do 8 times 100 and get 800. I wouldn't recommend taking 100 credits in one semester, but we can see the advantage of that formula that would allow us to do that calculation quickly.